Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome to the Wayne Bradley Show. Sorry for the little bit of technical difficulties here. We're trying to work out some new equipment here in the studio, and so I apologize for the slight delay there. We've got a lot going on here in this country. It's been a very trying couple weeks here as conservatives watch everything that's going on, and I would say as people in America watch what's going on. It's not just. I'm sure it's not just conservatives that are frustrated. Heck, you even got a lot of Democrats that are mad right now at President Obama for the tax bill that he passed. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. I want to thank everyone that's been listening in. You're now listening to the Wayne Bradley Show. Of course, some of you that might not have heard the last show, we switched the name up from Conservatives Cool Talk Radio to the Wayne Bradley Show because we're going to get a little more opinionated here now. In this coming shows in the new year. I want to thank everyone that supported the show so far. And if you have any questions or comments, give me a call here at 347-996-3175. Give me a second here to set up the switchboards and go live into the chat room. But we've got a lot to talk about. It appears that the Democrats are going rogue here in the last couple of weeks. You know, in the lame duck session, a lot of these guys have lost or not coming back. So, in my opinion, they have nothing to lose by continue to implement some of their radical ideas for what needs to be done here in America. So it's been very interesting watching what's going on here. So we got to keep an eye on these people in D.C. The tax bill was extended with also the tax cuts the Bush tax cuts. And let's clarify that because Obama was going to let them expire. Or he was going to try to rearrange it, but those are still the Bush tax cuts, the ones that he promised that he was going to get rid of because they were unfair to the wealthy, and he was trying not to forget about the middle class. So in his way of being a politician, what he did was he kept those tax cuts in there because the Republicans were not willing to budge at all on those tax cuts. But he was able to extend unemployment for another, I believe, 99 weeks. Now, those don't extend to people that have already done their 99-week max, but it extends to those. It extends to people that are, who were going to run out of unemployment in the last week here. And I understand the idea of not wanting people to go lose their unemployment a week, 2 weeks before Christmas, and can't pay your bills. But the question I would ask to President Obama and the rest of the politicians is how long are we going to allow unemployment? What's going to be the max? Is it going to be 99 weeks? Is it going to be 200 weeks? Or are we going to go? Forever until they find a job? Because I don't believe that the unemployment benefits are. I believe that some people are definitely looking for jobs, but I believe a lot of people don't start looking for jobs until their unemployment benefits run out, which is, could be years. And it's very hard to get a job, and I can attest to that. It's very hard to get a job in this market being out of work for 2 or 3 years. So while the idea is to support people in their down period, you want people to be able to get off of that down period. And I think that extending benefits without something in place to ensure that people are looking for jobs and are going to look, are looking for jobs is a detriment to the people that are on unemployment. And it also raises the cost for the people that are the employers. The insurance taxes, the taxes and insurance on a small business right now are just astronomical because of the fact that they're being required to put more into a system because more is going out. We're bleeding money from every direction, and it's going to be, this is more political chess to me. The idea of extending these benefits, he's trying to appease the middle class, which, again, I'm not against, but you have to put some safeguards in place to make sure you're actually helping the people that you're, looking to help. So if you're listening in, give me your thoughts on this. 347-996-3175. I made a comment last night about if Obama continues to go in this direction, that the Republicans in power, I believe, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I believe that there's going to be someone that's going to be moving to try to impeach this president. It happened to President Clinton for a lot less a lot less of what he did. I mean, it was a personal thing as opposed to some of the decisions that Obama is making that are affecting this whole country. So, again, I'm not calling for that. I don't think that necessarily is going to get anything done. It might just be more political gesturing and posturing. But I think that you're going to have someone out here that's going to push for that kind of agenda, and I think it's going to be very interesting to watch this go on for the next 2 years. I've said it before, people, that we are the ones that are being used as the pawns here. The only people that are going to lose are the American people. So we got to make sure that we're holding all of our leaders accountable. We can't allow just favorites like Tea Party candidates and things like that. We have to hold everyone accountable to saying what they're going to do, because during election time, they all sound good. They all make a lot of promises. They all say they're going to stop things and improve things. But, again, once they get to D.C. and actually have to make those decisions, that's where we really see the true test of how good their word is. So I'm looking forward to seeing Allen West in action in Congress. I think that he's going to be one of the people that's definitely going to keep to his word, but he's going to have opposition, I predict, from inside his own party with some of the things that he wants to do as far as sticking to the Constitution, less spending, getting rid of some of the red tape that's in D.C., making things easier for looking out for the people. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing come 2011. There's going to be some changes, and I really hope that the elected officials that we put in place will stay true to their word. Now, give me a call. Like I said, I'm really interested in hearing from you. This is a 10 o'clock in the morning show, so we're doing it a little different today. Again, I wanted to test out some of my equipment. It doesn't look like that I can do that today, so we're still doing it on our typical, over-the-air system. So give me a call, 347-996-3175. That's the call-in number. We're going to also talk about the DREAM Act. We had a little discussion on that last night here on Facebook and on the web, and I think that there's some good and some bad points to this bill, but I think overall it sends the wrong message. As far as immigration reform, we need to first strengthen up our borders. That would go a long way into helping the way we're going to do immigration reform. So I'm interested to see what the president's ideas are on that. I know that he wants to pull, basically amnesty for these young, and people need to recognize right now what's going on. He wants to let people that are 16, that would be the age, 15 or 16, to become American citizens if they've lived here for 5 years, and then they would have to serve in the military or go to school, to be eligible for this DREAM Act. Now, I think it's a good idea in a sense to require some military service, because we're in a time right now where our military is weak, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to strengthen up our military. So I'm all for that in the right scenario. But what you're having here is you're going to have a lot of people taking advantage of this situation for amnesty. I don't believe that is the right way to do this, and you have to, again, recognize what's going on. 16 years old. You can become an American citizen, and then when you get out and when you graduate from high school at 18, which in 2 years you'll be 18, 2012, you'll be of voting age. Who do you think you're going to vote for? Who do you think those people are going to vote for? They're going to vote for President Obama, and I'm sure he's figured that out. And again, people really need to pay attention to what's going on. This is all political chess, and I think that we have the American people deserve better than that, and it's obvious what he's doing. So I want to hear from you on what you think about this, the DREAM Act. Like I said, there's been a lot going on in the last few weeks. I've taken a couple weeks off to try to organize the show better, to do some reflecting, really pay attention to what's going on here in D.C. and through our country, because, again, this show is for the people. It's not about anything else. It's about getting out ideas, getting your voice to be heard. And I think that's what, as American people, we have to stand together and make our voice be heard, because these politicians, in effect, sometimes are not listening to us, and we have to make sure our voices are amplified, and this is a way to do it. So, again, I appreciate everybody that's listening on the show today. Give me a call if you have any comments you want to add to this. I'm going to make a couple posts on here on Twitter and I hope to hear from you soon. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. So, again, I think it's people talk about President Obama as if he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a very smart man, and again, I think that a lot of this is so politically motivated. Again, think about the ages of these people and how they're trying to essentially the Democratic Party is trying to corral the Latino vote, and they're doing it through amnesty. Not the way to do things, but again, it doesn't surprise me in this political climate that President Obama is doing whatever he can to stay in office. And again, I suspect a lot of these politicians are going to do the same thing. They're just trying to stay in office, and so they're making bills that are bad for this country. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you. What do you think about the DREAM Act? Do you think it's an open bill for amnesty, or do you think that that it's a fair bill? I know most of my conservative comrades do not like that, but I'm interested to hear from both sides. Again, I don't believe that this is a good bill, but maybe some people can talk about it, and we can all decide what's good and what's bad about this bill. Again, I think it's not a bad idea to have military service. I don't think that the children or the students should be punished for their parents breaking the law. Because a lot of people suggest to take everybody and send them back to across the border or wherever they came from, and I don't know if that's practical, if that will work. Again, you have illegal aliens that were born essentially in America or came here when they were very little because their parents came here, and in fact they have become American students and things of that nature. But how do you fix the scenario where you make it right? And I don't know if amnesty is going to do that. Now, again, you have the idea of military service or school. Well, if you only go to school for 2 years, is it guaranteed that are you going to graduate? Because people can go to school for years and not graduate. So, is there any stipulations to the school? Is there any stipulations to once you do 2 years in the military? Is there anything more than that? Because what you don't want is people manipulating the system for amnesty, and I think that could also. You're leaving yourself wide open to that. So, these bills that they're trying to pass here in the lame duck session are pretty scary. They've been trying to vote on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which again I don't see anything wrong with the current policy. It's worked up to this point. The people I've talked to in the military said that it's not as big as a deal as people are making it out to be, but for their own safety, for military soldiers, they don't see a need for them to be able to, for them to be out, as they call it, and to, share that with the rest of the troops. And again, for their own safety, that might be an issue because you do have people that are homophobic who don't understand that culture or that lifestyle, I should say. And they might not be comfortable with sharing showers and things of that nature, and you don't want people thinking about that on the battlefield. I don't see why that would be necessary, but again, maybe some people can enlighten me. Maybe a caller or someone who's in the military or someone that's experienced that can enlighten this conversation. So if you can, give me a call, 347-996-3175. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it, America. We have like I said, in these last couple of weeks here, it seems as if the Democrats are doing whatever they can, in this lame duck session to change America the best they can. And I don't know how they're. Like I said again, I guess these guys realize that they have nothing else to lose. So they're being reckless. I pretty much can say they're being reckless with the laws and the things that they're trying to do. So let's talk about it. 347-996-3175. We're here in the morning. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. If you get a chance, visit the website at conservativeiscool.com. We've got all kind of news and polls on there, and we keep you updated with all the news of the day from different sources. We try to keep it where you're getting an even kill. We give you news from Fox, CNN, locally here in the Detroit area. We try to keep people abreast of what's going on. So feel free to go to the website and check it out. And again, make your voice be heard. We have all kind of polls. We have a section of comedy relief because, again, times like this, the only thing that sometimes can make us smile is a little comedy. You need to laugh, not to cry sometimes. So check out the website, conservativeiscool.com. Join me either live in the in the chat room also. If you're not interested in calling in, join me in the chat room. The calling number is 347-996-3175. And again, I want to thank everyone that's been listening. I want to apologize for the folks that I haven't been on the air for the last couple of weeks. I had recently started a different job, and it was quite an experience. I won't air out the company, but it was a different experience for me. I've enjoyed being self-employed for the last 8 years of my life, and it gives me the opportunity to do things like this radio show. And I want to say that it was just too restrictive of my time, that I couldn't do the job necessary, because I enjoyed doing my radio show. I sell real estate in the Detroit, Michigan area, so you can imagine how tough that's been lately. But through faith, through God, we've always been able to manage, and I just had to step out on faith and continue to do that. So it's tough out here in the job market. For the people in my generation, we were told to go to college and you would get a good job when you got out of college. Now, I'm not telling people that school is a big waste of time. I love my university, Michigan State University, but the job market has severely changed, and I'm encouraging people, and right now, if you have kids that are going to school, make sure they're majoring in something that has a specific major. Going to school for a business degree or business administration just isn't cutting it anymore. They have to have a specialized field. Things have changed in our economy. Your kids might have to be prepared to move to other countries to get good jobs. And again, I think that ought to really motivate people and really have people look around and say, is this the kind of country that we, the direction we're going in? Is this the way we want to go? And I know I don't. I don't want my kids to have to move to another country just to get a decent job. So we have to make the business climate here better. We cannot put business structure in place where we're motivating these companies to go to other countries to do business because of all the regulation and things of that nature, unions making it tougher for businesses to operate. In the state of Michigan, I can tell you that for a fact, that they make things a lot more difficult to bring in new businesses here because of all the regulation, all of the, again, union, hands in the pot of the union, and them stirring up unrest and trying to, like I said, making it difficult for the businesses to come here and want to do business. We have a lot of things in place. A Michigan business tax, again, it just makes it unappealing. So it's an onus on the government, locally, statewide, and through the federal government to make it more business friendly here in America. Our tax rates are through the roof, and again, if it's in that kind of climate, we should not expect businesses to want to invest here because we're not doing the right things to get things on track. So there's a lot of things going on right now, and I'm hoping. The president, to me, he seems to be an enemy of business. He does not seem to appreciate capitalism in any form or fashion. He seems to be more of a fan of big government programs. So, as long as he's in place, and as long as he's thinking in those terms, I think it's going to be a lot harder for us to create jobs here in America. The government does not create jobs. They create the atmosphere for the private sector to make more jobs and to create and to be innovators. And I think that that's what we're missing right now. Like I said, we're doing a lot of political jostling right now, a lot of posturing, a lot of grandstanding, and nothing's getting done. This tax bill, if you ask me, this is D.C. as usual. No change from either side. There's rationale on both sides. We're spending at an unbelievable rate, but yet we're still offering large tax breaks to the wealthiest. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with saying don't, extend tax breaks, but we're not cutting down our spending. You can't extend unemployment and cut taxes and continue and offer tax breaks and continue to spend in the same fashion and think that we're going to change anything. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And I think, again, that comes from a lot from having a leader that's never run a business, that's never had to add up a profit and loss statement. Has never had to look at things from the standpoint of staying profitable, because this is where a business person would look at, okay, this is what I've got to cut. This is where I've got to get value for my dollars. And, Nancy Pelosi thinks the biggest bang for our buck is by, creating, unemployment and food stamps. I mean, that was her own quote, that we get the best bang for our buck with food stamps and, and welfare programs, which, again, to me sounds, keeping the disenfranchised poor and only giving them a sliver of hope is what gets them their votes. And it's just it's a terrible political ploy aimed at keeping the poor poor. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, and we need to change the way we're doing things. It looks like the DREAM Act is going to need GOP votes to pass. So it'd be very interesting to see if that's really going to pass or not. So we've got to call in. I've told people yesterday, call in to your. It's not too late to call in to your senators and let them know how you feel about this act. So call in, let your voice be heard. Let me see if I can get you that number, and you guys call into your local senators. Call into the Senate, and let them know exactly how you feel about this and how this is a bad idea, because that's the only way they're going to know how we feel about this. And again, some of our conservative leaders, they're sticking up for us, but they need to be reminded too. Again, this is all about deal making right now in D.C., and I think that that was supposed to change, and it hasn't. People they're doing a bunch of backroom deals. There's no transparency to what's going on until the bill gets passed. And I think that's what people need to worry about with this DREAM Act. And like I said, I'd like to hear from the people out there. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. All right. Kind of quiet there on the boards. Hopefully in 2011, I've got hopefully some major announcements coming through moving forward. Hope to see everyone at CPAC. I plan on going down to CPAC again this year. That was a great experience last year. But I'm hoping to be at CPAC again this year so we can get in touch with some more of our conservative leaders and really reach out and see what we can do to get this country back on track. We've kind of thrown around some names already for 2012. There's been a lot of the same people: Mitt Romney, Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee. I'm really hoping that Mike Pence throws his name into that hat. I think of all those people. The only problem is that what I'm seeing in polls so far is that Obama's still up. He's still up in a lot of the polls. So I'm going to take my first call here. I appreciate you for calling in. Caller, you're on the air.
Oh, hi, Wayne. This
Hi.
is Laura Green. I'm one of your Facebook friends.
Hi, Laura. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. This is my first time calling in, and I just happened to wake up, and you said you were on, so I turned it on. I just wanted to make a comment on this DREAM Act, or ask a question.
Okay.
What happens to all the people that are already currently trying to get citizen status, that are jumping through all of the hoops, filling out all the paperwork, and paying all that money to become citizens?
That's a question I was wondering about too, because I know a lot of people who are doing it the right way. There's a long line of people there waiting to get into this country the right way. And I would suspect that we'll have to read more about that when the bill passes. That's the Nancy Pelosi way of doing things. But yeah, it does. It sends a message that those people have to continue to wait. I mean, it doesn't. They're not dealing with that. They're dealing with illegal immigrants. They're the ones that are getting preferential treatment in this scenario. So, I mean, to me, it sounds like they're going to continue to have to wait, do things the right way, like I said, filling out a ton of paperwork, going through all the proper channels. And the children of these illegal immigrants who came here illegally, they're going to get a free pass. Now, I was saying earlier, I think that there are some positives to it by requiring military service, because we're in a time where our military is probably we need it, but I don't know how you can make that right. Well, like you said, when you have people that are in line waiting to get into this country. Well, how do you feel about the DREAM Act?
I think it's terrible. Well, two things. We need border security, and we do need to reform our immigration policies, but they're two separate issues, and I don't understand why so many people on the left consider it one issue. And I think that we need to make it easier for legitimate people who are trying to get into the country.
Right. I
because
agree.
I think it's pretty sad when they spend so long, and I'm sure that they're even more well-versed on our history and everything than we are, who were born here, because they're studying everything about the Constitution and all of that. So I think that their path needs to be made easier if they're not criminals or that type of thing.
Right. I totally agree with that.
Let's, do that first. And as far as the illegals themselves, we have the most lenient immigration laws of any other country. I mean, I was even reading some on the Mexican immigration laws. It's very hard to immigrate to another country, except for here.
Exactly.
So I don't understand, why we're supposed to give everyone preferential treatment who doesn't deserve it.
Right. And I think you said the key thing, and I was talking about this early in the beginning, was border security would be the first thing we need to tackle, because if we tell people right now that all you have to do is live here for up to 5 years, and you can become your kids can become legal American citizens, we'll have a whole other influx of, I believe, illegal aliens coming here that will be more than willing to tell their kids they're going to have to serve in the military for a couple of years and everything else to become American citizens. I mean, this is the greatest country in the world to live in, so I don't blame people for wanting to come here. But we need to, again, put some things in place to safeguard against illegals coming here, and again, make the process easier for those that are trying to come in the right way. And for those that are here working illegally, we need to go after. I think that's the way that you really could discourage people from doing this, is going after either employers and making them pay for them to become citizens, or however you want to do it. But it needs to be some kind of financial, something put in place that discourages businesses from hiring illegals. And if they do, then we need to move past that, fine them, tax them, whatever we need to do. But then also, somehow financially make it where we can get them to become American citizens if they don't have criminal records and that sort of thing. But it's got to be something more beneficial to the country instead of just, to me, a political move by Obama by granting amnesty to Latinos so he can have that vote in 2012. I mean, if you're 16 right now, think about it. If you're 16 right now, you've been here for 5 years already, and you're about to become an American citizen, who do you think they're going to vote for come 2012?
Well, hopefully they won't bother to vote.
Well, I think that a lot of new citizens, given that opportunity, in particular, knowing that Obama is the one that created that law for them, I think that a lot of Latinos or whoever the illegal aliens were would get out and vote for him because he made it possible. I'm sure he will remind them come 2012 that he was the one that did that. And that, to me, it just reeks of political chess. That's what I call it.
Yeah, that's true. But we do have two separate issues here, so we need to immediately be working on securing the border, and then we have another committee that's working on reforming the existing immigration laws. And when that's all done, okay, then you decide what you want to do with the illegals that are already here.
Right. I agree. That's
but there needs to
first
be
and foremost is
punishment.
tightening up the borders, because I mean it's places in Arizona and places like that where they're telling Americans not to even go to anymore, which just blows my mind because it's so overran by the drug trade and illegal. Just it's not even safe for Americans to go in certain parts of Arizona. I think that right there tells you a lot about what we need to do as far as tightening up our borders. It's allowing, not only is it allowing drugs, it's allowing human trafficking and potentially terrorists coming through these borders. So we definitely, for our national security, that needs to be the first thing we need to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I live in northern Arizona. We really don't have any problems here, but, one thing people don't talk about is what happens to the women that are being smuggled across the border. I mean, there's terrible things going on. They're being sexually assaulted, and there's nothing that anyone can do. But people on the left will tell you that's a lie. They also said all the beheadings that were going on was a lie, and that continues in Mexico. So it's not a safe way for people to try to get here.
Right. No, I agree. Well, I thank you for calling in. It's good to hear from somebody from Arizona that's kind of, like I said, you're in northern Arizona, so at least you're not, thank goodness you're not on the front line of it, but it definitely affects your state. And, and I appreciate you for calling in today. I hope you'll call in again.
I sure will, and you have a great day.
You have a blessed day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Lord, for calling in today. I appreciate that. Again, it's really a situation, folks, where the left has a totally different way of looking at the way this country is going compared to the right. I think personally, like I said, that's my personal belief on why Obama's gone for this DREAM Act, and Harry Reid and the like. They're trying to push this for votes for 2012. They're trying to get things in place because on a lot of the issues they've lost. They're losing the American folk, the American people on, and so to get some new votes, to get some new people out here, they have to play some dirty pool. They have to get out here and do some things that are a little bit different, like a DREAM Act, pushing for Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I'm going to post a little tweet about that, see if we can get some people to call in on that too. I'd be interested to hear. I've seen some varying opinions on that. So we're going to talk about that for a moment here. That's going to get some people started. I don't know. Like I said, some people take this more personally than others, but me personally, from where I stand, I don't have a problem with the current policy. People say, oh, that's unfair, that people shouldn't have to live a certain way. Well, look, there's certain jobs that everyone has, that you have a job, and there's certain things you don't reveal about your personal life at the job. I mean, it's business, and I don't think that that a person not being able to talk about their sexuality is in any kind of infringing on anybody's rights, if you ask me, but I could be wrong. I'm willing to listen to that debate. I don't personally think that that's right. As a Christian, I think that homosexuality is morally wrong, but that's not for me to judge. God will be the final judge on that. But from everything I've been taught, homosexuality is wrong. So I'm not really going to be sticking up for any of these causes, but I understand as a military person, someone that's defending our country, they might feel differently about that. Again, from talking to the military people that I've talked to, they said it's actually an issue of protecting the safety of that soldier, and they don't want something bad to happen to that soldier. So, people need to think about that. I know a lot of activists say, well, that's their right to do what they want to do, but in the military, the same rights that me and you have don't necessarily exist in the military, and people need to recognize that. I don't know how someone being able to be open is that going to make them any much better of a soldier? And if it's not, then there's no need for it. That's my personal stand. I've seen some soldiers and people willing to argue that point, but again, you don't see heterosexuals jumping into this, beating their chest about how much I love women and all that. So I don't know if that's necessary. I'd be interested to hear from some current military personnel if they're out there. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. We're here on the Wayne Bradley Show. I'm going to start trying to come back on the air every morning at 9 a.m. Hope that works for people's time frames. 9 to 10 a.m. in the mornings. We're revamping the whole process. I want to keep bringing on good guests for the show, but to be quite honest, a lot of these guys talk about the exact same thing. They have their talking points. There's no, we're not getting anywhere with some of these people. I'm hoping to have Michael Steele come on the show real soon, so we can talk about his run for RNC chairman and the future of the GOP. We recently had Saul Anuzis on the show, who's going to be running against him for RNC chairman out of Michigan. I think it's been a real interesting to see how quickly people are calling for the removal of Michael Steele when he did do what I would consider a pretty good job, in this campaign season. Now, there are others that disagree with me, and again, Michael Steele has not even announced if he's running again or not. So those are the kind of things I'd like to ask him about and talk to him about, and hopefully we'll have him on the show. But we're going to continue to try to bring a quality show. We're going to continue to try to push the issues more. If we can't bring on these guests, I know that a lot of times that brings more people to the show when you have someone of such a large stature as, Michelle Bachman, who I hope to have back on the show again real soon, Steve King, Alan West, all these great people that have been on the show. But we need to really, as the people, we need to talk more about these issues, bring more to the table, get more involved as activists in our areas. Those are the only way we can really push for effective change. Sitting on the couch being mad is not going to help. Get involved with your local Tea Party groups. I think that that's been one of the most effective and grassroots operations that's going on in a long time. And again, when you're not part of the politics system, like how most of the Tea Parties are and the way they've organized themselves, you give yourself a stronger voice, and you don't owe yourself to a particular politician or party. And I think that's the right way to go, because there's no point committing to politicians that aren't willing to commit back to the people. So those are the things you have to really pay attention to. You have to see who's actually spending that time, who's actually committing themselves to the people, willing to talk, willing to listen to ideas, because we have far too many people in D.C. that think that they know better for us, better for us in this country than actually listening to us. And that, again, speaks towards the arrogance of D.C. Another story, and I'm going to be getting off the air real soon. Again, this was supposed to be a test show today to try my new equipment. I didn't get to do that, so we ended up just doing our normal talk format. John Conyers recently, who's a congressman here in my area from my old district when I lived in Detroit, his son recently had a car broken into, a government-issued Cadillac Escalade that he was driving himself in the downtown Detroit area at a party, and there were things stolen out the car, laptops, and we haven't heard anything else about it. And what I want to know is that how come liberals are given this green light to do whatever they want to do, misuse funds, misuse government property, and no one questions him about it. That made the news for like one day. But I guarantee you, if a Republican did that, if Mike Pence did that, that would be on the news for the next week. If Mike Pence gave his son somebody his car, and on top of that being an expensive luxury SUV like a Cadillac Escalade, there would be no end to the calls from the media of what's going on. And again, it's unfortunate that the media is not being more fair about the criticism of our elected leaders, that they only go after conservatives and Republicans, and they don't question anyone in their own backyard unless it really essentially deals with media access. If they don't answer their questions, then they'll get a little mad. But outside of that, some of the shady stuff that's going on, they're not questioning that. And it really disappoints me as the media to be a part of that. Like I said, I'm part of what I call the new media, people that are doing it for themselves, doing it to report the news to others, and we don't have any hidden agendas. We're not owned by any corporations. We're not sponsored by a bunch of large sponsors that can keep us quiet. I mean, I'm working on getting a few sponsors for the radio show coming up, but essentially these are people that support the cause, and that's what it's all about. If you want to support my radio show and support the cause, you can go to my website at conservativescool.com and click on the donate page. You can give $5. Again, those costs go towards investing in new equipment, going to some of these events and covering them, like CPAC, and having to there's no sponsors here. The sponsors are my listeners, and I'm thankful that you continue to listen to my show. Again, I hope some people maybe will get involved a little bit more, and like I say, call in, do what you can to spread the word, spread the links to the show, get other people involved, let people know about my show. I really would appreciate that. And again, I thank everyone that's listened in for the last year or so. We marked the year anniversary last month, and like I said, we went from the Conservatives Cool radio show to the Wayne Bradley show. And it's just more or less to get to make it more recognizable. When I'm trying to get people to come on the show, I would like to have a little more, name recognition with these folks so they're more willing to come on the show. And I also wanted more Democrats and liberals to come on the show because I felt like they were scared and turned off by the name of my show in the first place, and that was kind of cutting into the kind of people and guests. And I want people from both sides of the aisle to come on the show. I think that's important. I think it's important to get out the ideas of both sides of the argument and both sides of the party. So give me a call. The call-in number is 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you. We're going off the air soon. Again, I want to encourage people to visit my website at conservativescool.com. Feel free to support it. We're going to get the ball rolling. Again, I want to apologize to people that I took some time off. Hope I didn't lose too many listeners doing that. Hope I didn't lose too much support. It's just been, I'm like everyone else out here. I'm working, trying to support a family, and I took some time away to get things focused and to get back on the right footing. But I appreciate everyone that supported the show. We'll be going back on the air hopefully tomorrow at 9 a.m. Again, we're going to start a new time. Get more involved. Visit the website, conservativescool.com. Everybody have a blessed day, and thanks for listening in. God bless you.